Welcome to another tarot video, and today we will be discussing the Six of Cups here. Ruled by Scorpio, this card, so we can expect the unexpected and expect more depth to the card than what we actually see. And so it proved when I spent the best part of a day looking at how Aleister Crowley defines this card, and that's in the book of Thoth. So he does go off at tangents a few times and then links it all back in with the main theme of the card, which has a sexual connotation to it. But as we'll see, that is not just a wanton sexual thing which can happen, for instance, in the debauch card, which is the next card from this. So this card is really very much to do with balance, as you would expect, because it's associated with Tippereth, the sixth Sephiroth, which is on the middle pillar, the Tree of Life. Its Rider-Waite counterpart, it's a rather more innocent looking card with two children. So with this card, the divinatory meaning is more associated with nostalgia, which is also linked with Scorpio, and also looking at childhood memories and rather deriving our pleasure from more in a more innocent and naive way. So this card is doesn't hold the depth of the Six of Cups in the Thoth deck. So what we'll do now is look at the six in detail and then go on to see how that transfers to its application in the spread. Okay, we'll have a look at the Six of Cups in a bit more detail. We have the cups arranged in a hexagram, with the sun in the centre representing Tippereth. So these would be the lower three triangles with Malkuth down here, and these would be like the upper triangles here. So you've got a Tree of Life type of pattern embedded in the card, as there are quite a few cards in the minor arcana. Other things to note is the yellow appearance of the stems and the lotuses and the cups themselves. So you've got quite a lot of solar influence in this card. Not only is it to do with the six Sephiroth, but you've also got a double dose of the sun here, because it's the sun that is in the sign of Scorpio, which, if we look at the decans, here we've got Scorpio here and the sun ruling the second decan of Scorpio, which is 10 to 20 degrees. Its position on the Tree of Life, it should be straightforward. Again, it's on this middle pillar here. So when we're looking at the later on just about the sexuality of the card, it is a card that is linked to spirit here in Keta, and it's on the middle pillar, so the card is primarily about balance and harmony. In terms of the world, we've got the second level here of Tippereth in Bria. Okay, going back to the card itself, so in terms of the astrology of the card, as I said, we've got quite a dose of solar influence here. With the sun in Scorpio, it does actually bring out some of the hidden aspects of the Scorpio sign. Scorpio is associated with sex, death, transformation, that sort of thing, quite intense. It's ruler of the 8th house. Further things to note in the card, we've got 5 stems here and 5 stems there. So relating to the number 10, which is Malkuth, So we've got some sort of grounding of the card there in the number 10. It's also said that these cups here are made of brass or copper, which has like a healing effect. So again, this does relate back to Scorpio, which is all to do about transformation, and this card is about inner healing, because as we'll see in the final section when we look at like a 3-card spread, you have got this dark area of the background there, which does indicate times in the past where we've had to experience some quite dark times, but this is very much a card of moving out of that and into the clear sky here. So there's no sense of being bogged down at all in this card. It's really showing you to actually do you have the capabilities of lifting out of that. Something that I noted in Scuffin, I think. Snuffin. That's right, Snuffin. He does say that these spheres here total 5 in number, and there's one hidden, which would represent the planet Mars. And you've got this bit more clear here, you've got these like Aries type glyph here. So with Mars in Aries, it brings us back to the 2 of Wands, which is Dominion, and it's all about having the confidence to go out and express yourself and express what you want and what you need. So he's indicating that there's an element of this in the card, and that this is the product of that will, because he does talk about the will in this card in the Book of Thoth. But other than that, I can't see a connection between the two. But that's something that Snuffin does indicate, and his book is probably the best book on the Thoth deck. See if I can see anything else about the picture here. Yeah, you've got these, some people say these little this water here is quite snake-like, definitely here, and it's again indicating a process of transformation associated with Scorpio. Obviously a snake sheds its skin, and in that process there's a period which it cannot see, so again that would be relating to this dark period here. But then we come out of that transformation and we're evolved, we've moved on from what was holding us back. So I think that's in terms of the symbology, that's pretty straightforward there. Going on to the what Aleister says about the card is not so straightforward. He does say that pleasure must be understood in its highest sense, and he talks about the harmony of the natural forces without effort or strain. But he does say, and these two quotes are quite seemingly contradictory, he says, foreign to the idea of the card is the gratification of natural and artificial desires. So foreign to the idea of the card is gratification of the natural and artificial desires. So he's saying that the natural desires would be what sustains us, food, drink, warmth, and artificial desires are obviously that which is manufactured by the culture that we live in, especially in the West, where you've got, it's very consumer orientated. So what he's saying, that this card does not relate to either what sustains us on a day-to-day basis or the pleasure of artificial desires manufactured by our culture. But he does say, yet it does represent emphatically the fulfillment of the sexual will. The will I talked about with regards to the 2 of Wands. And further to that, he says, the secret of the 9th degree of the B.O.T.A, which was his esoteric order, it was to do with sex magic. Which was producing something of value to us as society in general. So this card does relate to sexual fulfillment. You can't get away from it. He makes it quite clear. But we're looking for the sexual fulfillment in a harmonious and balanced way, and also all the emotions and richness that go with that. So something that came to mind for me was the either you're looking at Tantra or the purification of the sexual energy through meditation and the raising of Kundalini through the chakras to the Sahasrara chakra at the top here. And that's a whole, well, there's lots of information on the net about that, but excuse me, Kundalini can be raised through mantras specifically designed to raise it, or through breathing and yoga postures. Not that easy to fully raise, at least not as easy as what the books and the internet make out, and you really need to know what you're doing. Mr. Crowley does relate it to the 20th hexagram, which is Quan, I believe, and the hexagram itself is related to the 8th month, which Scorpio is a ruler of, September, October, but Quan means observation. And to be honest, from what Mr. Crowley does talk about in the book of Thoth, I cannot fully link this in with what he is saying, so I'm going to leave that open, so anyone interested in that can have a look at that. So going to a divinatory meaning of the card, so we can talk about things such as pleasure, experience which is near and dear to our heart, something that means a lot to us after hardship. We're undergoing a period of healing and transformation. Emphasis is on sexual, so this is usually the basis of what the divinatory meaning of the card is. But it's not the uncontrolled energy that we've seen in the Seven of Cups, the debauch card. So here it may represent a fulfilling relationship or the aspiration of one that will improve like both partners. Like the sum of the whole is greater than the parts, but it's really emphasizing the need to experience like deep fulfillment through a sexual relationship. If you're going to go into reverse meanings, then it's not allowing us to experience this through various different obstacles and blocks, or choosing the wrong people to try and experience this, which we've probably all done, and not releasing the past enough for us to let go of that and move on to the energies of what this card represents. So we'll have a look at the positive and negative connotations in the final section of the video. Okay, on to the final section of the video. Yay! Okay, just to recap on the Six of Cups, we're talking about deep sexual fulfillment, going after what is important to you and fulfilling to you emotionally. So in this situation, for instance, we've got the Three of Swords to start with. It's a situation we've all been through, and I suppose a time of deep hurt, deep wounds, probably from, well, in this circumstance it would possibly be indicating wounds through a relationship or romance that's actually dissolved and has left us with a wound. The Truth card is again taking time out to think about what you want, what's important to you, and the Six of Cups would be again reaffirming your need to have fulfillment in a relationship. So it's a situation that we've all sort of felt ourselves in at one point in our life, or maybe more than one. Other cards we can use would be the divorce card there, and again that's all about excesses such as can be in its most extreme form drugs, alcohol, sex, but we're talking about inharmonious sex, as you can see from the card. So as a result of being hurt in the Three of Swords, some people actually go and have like meaningless sex, meaningless relationships as a reaction to this hurt. So it's something that they haven't actually worked through. So this is where cards such as completion would come in order to move from the Three of Swords to the Six of Cups. You need some form of completion, that the events of the three have been integrated and you're ready to move forward. And this is what the Two of Wands can then do, which is encouraging someone to, with the Mars and Aries energy, to move forward with the Aries, new adventures, new times in your life. And with the Mars there, it is actually moving forward to something new, and having that passion and desire, again for relationships, which can actually be wiped out after the events of the Three of Swords. We can introduce something totally different, would be the Gain card, and then that would be something that maybe after a period of hurt they've concentrated on their career and getting their home life stable, and so mainly after that someone would then reflect and decide that, okay, now I'm organised this way, I can go out and get what I want and I'm in a much better position, so I can go out and find fulfilment physically and sexually and emotionally. The Swiftness card, moving through these, part of that is to encourage us with the Mercury and Sagittarius, to know that our internal and external communication is good before moving on from the three and the hurt within the three. So it may be a situation arising now that presents itself that we can now move forward and not really hold back. There's a lot of energy in the Eight of Wands, as we discussed, and part of that card was to say that if an opportunity comes along, then it might be time to take it now. So if someone is waiting in the wings, then that's encouraging us to move forward with that. And we've got the Interference card there. So again, that puts a spanner in the works between the Three of Swords and the Six of Cups. So lots of things still getting in the way of their fulfillment of what is really important to them emotionally in the Six. So they would then need to unravel and go back to the Four of Wands, which is the completion stage, to make sure that all this has been resolved before moving on to and being free, to sit in the clear skies of the Six of Cups, because the Six of Cups does have this sea within it, which is similar to the Three of Swords there, difficult times, but the clear skies in the Six do actually mean that we've been lifted out of that darkness and we can have the opportunity to move forward and be fulfilled sexually, emotionally, and all of the feelings that go with it that help to transform us and blow our world, hopefully. So this is a really great card to have, and I think I'll end there. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope that gives you a few points of inspiration, and I hopefully see you again. Bye.